This is the RV Advisor Podcast with your host, Tom Alexander. Get all the latest information, trends, advice from experts, stories from the road, and more in the world of recreational vehicles. Now, here's Tom.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander, and joining me today in the great city of Boise, Idaho, it is Cortni Armstrong from the Flipping Nomad. Hey, Cortni.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It is great to have you. And, I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I just sort of learned about the Flipping Nomad, and I'm seeing that you guys are like a sensation because you've got so many followers and so much going on there. Tell us a little bit about the origin of the Flipping Nomad. I mean, it in some ways very much in the title, but give us the origin of
that. So the Flipping Nomad in its simplest sense is an RV renovation business. It's a lot like, you see Chip and Joanna Gaines on Fixer Upper. It is that style of work, but on wheels. And the origin of it was, how the business got started was, I've been a full-timer for 6 years. Kind of got into it through a little bit of some turmoil in my life, as trying to save my dad's businesses after his stroke. And I was just desperate for an affordable housing alternative. And so a family friend got me into living in an RV. And at first I was embarrassed about it and hated it. But then as time went by, I kind of started falling in love with the lifestyle and loved living minimally, but just did not like the interiors of any RV that I was seeing. And so as I kind of got back up on my feet, I thought, well, I'd like to keep living this way, but I'd like an RV that's cute and modern and bright and feels like a bachelorette pad for a mid-20s lady. And I got obsessive in my search about it and searched every dark corner of the internet trying to find what I wanted, and it did not exist. So I finally said, okay, if it's going to have to be on my own terms to build something that I want. So I bought a rig and then renovated it, and it came out really, really cute. And then some more time went by, and I kept coming back to my buying experience of just not being able to find an interior design that I liked. And I thought, well, maybe there's a business here and let's give it a shot. So I tried the business, and then now my mom has joined the business, and now we have, like you touched on, a huge social media following and a huge waiting list. And so it's been like the most crazy lemonade out of lemon story that I could have ever even begun to come up with. And it's kind of special that I'm kind of the one that's, along for the ride along with some other family members too. It's been an interesting journey for sure.
Wow, that is an interesting journey. Great story. And it's really interesting too, Cortni, how oftentimes actually, new businesses, are born from exactly the way you described it. It's no one's thought of it. No one's doing it. And it's like, well, if not them, why not me kind of attitude. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened, and we've seen that kind of thing occur really through history. But it's very cool when you sort of seize on something that really can be a business or an invention or a development or whatever it might be, a movement, whatever it is, and you've done it. So that's fantastic. Tell us a little bit about the unit you're in.
So the unit that I'm currently in is the Ultimate Montana. And so as I was, sorry, my phone just went off, but as I was building the business, I recognized that people they weren't paying any attention to the structure of the rig. They weren't looking at if the roof was rotted out or, if it was a brand that was known for falling apart or anything like that. And so I said, I need to make sure that I take this responsibility of kind of being able to trick people and go above and beyond with it. I need to make sure that I work with rigs that have good bones and that are built right. So who are these brands? So everything came to the Keystone Montana. So I was working a lot with Montanas, and that's how Keystone found out about me. So they watched me for a while. And so then they reached out and they said, hey, we love what you do. We'd love to team up and build a rig together. So that this rig is the product of that partnership. So they said, go pick any Montana floor plan that you want to work with. So this rig is based off of a 2020 Montana 3791 RD. So it's the raised rear den with the storage underneath of it. And we did some of the most insane things in this rig that you could ever think of. Right now I'm looking at an 85-inch projector screen TV. It has 3 ultrasonic water vapor fireplaces. So the fireplaces turn water into vapor, and then they have light bulbs underneath of them that illuminate the vapor. So then it looks like real fire, but it's actually just water.
Yeah.
And then it has a freestanding residential bathtub and a kegerator and a margarita machine and this elevated bar that comes up out of the cabinet. It's kind of like a luxury penthouse on wheels. And Keystone will never build another one of these. It's not ever meant for mass production. It's a lot like a concept car. We're calling it a concept RV. So the big automotive manufacturers will build these insane concept cars just to show what's possible and kind of grab attention for the brand. So that's what this rig is. There'll never be another one. On the side of it, it says one of one, but it's really cool. It's just really cool that I got the opportunity to show Keystone, if you think outside of the box, here's what's possible. And it really opened their eyes. And I think it's the rig starting to open other people's eyes too within the industry of just, if we stop being stuck on, well, this is what we've always done, then it's incredible what's possible.
Wow, that it sure is, and the one of one is somewhat of a, who knows, someday maybe a collector's item. Somebody down the road will want that.
I would love that.
Yeah. We're speaking with Cortni Armstrong, and Cortni is from the Flipping Nomad. We want to chat a lot more about what's going on there with the Flipping Nomad, and we will right after this commercial break. This is the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, RV owners and those thinking about owning. Want to maximize the fun and minimize the hassle of buying an RV? You need GPS. It's Gigi's personal service. Our $350 package gets you me, the expert advice, and a host of outstanding services. Visit thervadvisor.com.
We are back on the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander, and my guest is the Flipping Nomad herself. It is Cortni Armstrong. And Cortni, it's a bit of a family affair. As you said, your mom's on board with in the business, and
correct.
So that's very cool. And how many folks are part of the team there?
So actually, believe it or not, it is only my mom and I right now.
Okay.
And then we actually do have I have a personal friend who is also an RVer, who just loves to tinker, and sometimes he'll come out and help us. But the reason that we did it that way is we're kind of in Boise temporarily this year, or at this shop right here. It's kind of an extremely long story, but my brother's getting married in a few weeks, so we came here to get him through the wedding, and then we are looking at moving probably to Texas this fall. So we desperately need a crew. We desperately need a staff, but we didn't want to take on any kind of a crew up here, knowing that we're leaving in a few months. So once we get settled in Texas, it'll be a little bit of a different story.
Gotcha. And how things going with just obviously we've been asking this question of everybody for the past several months. How things going with COVID? Everybody's doing okay, and it's not affecting you too much in what you do, or is it?
Yeah, no, everything is great, and if anything, it's made. We have a very good problem that we can't keep up with the demand. We turn people away left and right because we just flat out don't have the time.
Yeah.
To turn out the rigs to keep up. Well, now as everybody well knows, COVID has increased the buying pool. Everybody is trying to buy an RV now, and there's a huge shortage. And people are coming to us even more now, wanting more renovated rigs. So now we're having to tell people more, or tell people no even more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really been about the only COVID effect on us.
Yeah. you've got a partnership, as you mentioned, with Keystone RV Company and also GMC. Tell us how that began and how that, how that marriage works.
Yeah, so that was also a really neat partnership. So like I touched on earlier, Keystone found out about us because we were working with Montana's. And then we teamed up with Keystone to build the Ultimate Montana. And so as we were building it, Keystone and GMC were working on launching a product into the market called In Command, where basically the truck and the trailer create this cohesive trailering experience. So the truck can control a lot of the functions of the RV as long as the RV has the In Command system. Mm-hmm. So it can even go as far as turning on like the air conditioner. So this rig is outfitted with an insane solar package off-grid electrical management system. And so it can run the air conditioners without being plugged into shore power. It can run them off of solar. So with the technology of the truck, as I'm pulling up to, my boondocking spot or RV spot or whatever, I can, in the cab of the truck, on the dash, I can turn the air conditioners of the rig on and start cooling the rig down as I'm driving. Mm. Well, it has, not like while I'm driving, it has a safety feature, but without having to get out of the truck.
Right. Yeah.
And then it has a lot of other really cool features. Like there's a camera system where the rig is outfitted with cameras that plug directly into the truck, and then the truck creates this image with the truck and the trailer. And and the truck is so powerful. This trailer weighs 16,300 pounds dry, and the truck doesn't even feel it. Like it'll accelerate up a grade with no issue. So it's so anyways, as we were building the Ultimate Montana, Keystone was talking with GMC about this technology separate from the project, and then they mentioned the project in one of their meetings, and GMC said, well, is there a truck that's been chosen to tow that rig? And Keystone said, well, not yet. And they said, well, we would love to throw Cortni the keys to a truck and get her on the road with this.
Wow. So, great.
Yeah, so the original plan, we debuted the truck and the trailer in late December, and the original plan was to travel with it this year and take it to RV shows and other social functions within the RVing lifestyle. But COVID has changed some of those plans for us. So unfortunately, we're all kind of dressed up with no place to go at the moment, but we've been doing some virtual things, and then as the world starts opening back up, then we'll go back to our original plan.
Right.
It hasn't been a bad thing to have to pivot like that.
Yeah. Interesting. And you say you've had to turn folks away because of the demand and how busy you are. Are there sort of standard designs that you've sort of come up with, or I would assume there are, but are there also customized things? Do you do a little of both, or do you kind of have a plan A, B, C, and D, and then just build on those, or how do you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for the Ultimate Montana, the only thing Keystone asked for was the wow factor. They wanted something completely different, something that had never been seen before. So I went with this really kind of contemporary, like modern, and also kind of harsh in a way because it's a lot of blacks and whites.
Yeah, we can see that for those folks watching. Yeah. By the way, for those folks listening, for the folks that are just listening, yes, it's a beautiful unit, but it's largely kind of stark black, white, and it's very clean looking. I see you've got shelving in the back for cups and mugs and different things. Mm-hmm. You got the refrigerator over there, and I see a bunch of
there's a gold kitchen sink too.
Oh yes, there you go, gold kitchen sink. I see that.
There's a lot of gold accents in here. So anyways, this rig is definitely not the norm, but the reason that we did it was because Keystone just wanted to grab attention with it. Yeah. But the most common request that we get is definitely the farmhouse look. So a lot of, shiplap is huge. Everybody wants shiplap, because Chip and Joanna Gaines, I keep coming back to them, but they are like the masters of
They love the shiplap. Yes, absolutely.
People just want a Chip and Joanna Gaines home on wheels is what they want, basically. So,
Right.
yeah, so you asked about customization work. We used to do customization work, like a client could come in and customize pretty much every square inch
Yeah.
of the rig, but we reached this point where we were just turning people away left and right, and we said we have to figure out how we can move a little bit faster. And unfortunately, doing customization work really slows us down.
Yeah.
It takes about upwards of 50% longer. And so I know it's kind of like counterintuitive, but in an effort to service more people, we had to stop servicing people, like if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So now the way the business is structured is we buy a unit, and we're also very particular about the units that we'll work with. We give them a field inspection first and make sure we're not seeing any water damage signs, or seals look good, tires look good, all of the basics. And then once we get it home, we do a PDI on it. And so we chose to operate that way, so that way we knew that whatever rig we were working with had good bones and it was solid. And that way we could, the buyer would know what they were getting from us. So that's why we chose to only work with the RVs that we buy. And we are a licensed dealer for that. So without doing any customization work, we're able to build more of them and build them faster, which means we're able to, get them to more and more families. So
Right.
I know it sounds weird, like saying we're not servicing clients in order to service more clients, but that's kind of the reason, the method for the madness there.
Yeah. Do you think after the move to Texas that you may find, once you're more rooted, let's say, in a place, that you may have the ability, or at least plan for the future, bringing on more folks to help out, and then maybe being able to take on more?
Yeah, and that is something that we're looking at, and another reason for the move down there is so we can have a little more room to spread out, and then also be more centrally located to the rest of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just going to afford us a lot more opportunities down there. And then also being south of the frost line, when it starts snowing and it gets disgusting up here in the winter time, it's difficult to keep working and have the garage bays open. And thankfully our shop is covered, and we can back the rigs indoors, but still it's difficult when you're working in below freezing temperatures.
Oh yeah. Where are you from originally?
Here in Boise. I was born and raised here.
Oh, okay. So that is home. But yeah, and I know about winter weather. I mean, we're here in South Florida now and have been for a long time, but I grew up in the Poconos area in Pennsylvania, and no stranger to freezing temperatures and snow drifts and all that kind of craziness. So I hear you.
And
not much gets done in the dead of winter.
Right, exactly. And I always tell people, because first and foremost, I am an RVer. I've been a full-timer for 6 years. And one joke that I always tell people is that, full-timing is all fun and games until it's below freezing. And then it's like you're just in survival mode after that.
I've heard that. Well, let folks know, again, I know you've got a lot of social media happening out there, including Instagram, which has close to 47,000 followers right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where else can they find you?
Well, we are most active on Instagram. We try to do daily stuff on there with stories. I know that sounds bad. We have a Facebook page, but we don't do anything with it. So you might want to bypass that if you want some more information from us. But we also have a website. It's theflippingnomad.com. Okay,
theflippingnomad.com. And that's terrific. Well, listen, it was a lot of fun to talk with you and learn about what you do. And I'll tell you what, when you get settled down into Texas after your brother gets married and you get settled into Texas, we'd love to have you on again. And
I'd love that.
Yeah, once you're kind of settled in and got some of the growing pains behind you down there, we'll have you on again and see where things are going with the Flipping Nomad.
That would be awesome. Let's count on it.
All right, let's do it. That sounds great. Courtney, thank you so much for taking the time out to join us. I know you're busy. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it.
Our guest has been Cortni Armstrong from the Flipping Nomad. And you can see their website, theflippingnomad.com. And of course, you can follow them on Instagram at the Flipping Nomad. Very simple. This is the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.